Anakin Solo is now 11 and headed for the Jedi Academy. The Force is very strong with him. He can feel it. And his uncle Luke thinks it's time for him to start his training. On his first day at the Jedi Academy, Anakin makes a new friend named Tahiri. The Force is with her, too. Soon they find out that together they can accomplish feats that surprise even their teachers. But the teachers don't know what else Anakin and Tahiri do together. Every night, they both have the same dream of going down the river by the academy on a raft. In the dream, they are drawn by the Force, but for all they know, it could be the dark side. There's only one way to find out for sure. They have to go down the river all by themselves. For real.
It's the Padawan Library Golden Globe Spectacular! Featuring guest appearances by Mel Lyon and a special musical performance by Jefferson Starship. Now here are your hosts, Tim May and Levi Paredes. Thank you, and welcome to the 85th Padawan Library, the Golden Globe Spectacular. I am Levi Paredes, and boy, do we have a show for you guys tonight. We're going to be celebrating not one, but 2 Golden Globes. First up, we're going to be talking about the... Wait, which was it? The 70... Wait, I think it was the 66th Golden Globes. Oh, man, I've ruined it. The 66th Annual Golden Globe Best Comedy and a Musical nominee.
Or musical.
Or musical.
That's very important.
This movie had comedy and musical. 2008, the year that gave us The Clone Wars, The Dark Knight, and of course, the celebrated Mamma Mia.
Okay.
And then, hang on.
God damn it.
He introduced himself, he just didn't introduce
I'm introducing the show. I'm introducing the show, and then I'm introducing Tim, alright?
Okay.
And then afterwards, we are discussing Nancy Richardson's Junior Jedi Knights #1, the Golden Globe. So now, ladies and gentlemen, what you've all been waiting for, well, I won't get there yet. We have a big night planned. We have a special guest coming on the show, Mel Lyon, and a special live musical performance by Jefferson Starship.
This is your worst idea.
But what everybody's been waiting for, may I introduce the hostess with the mostest, Tim May.
Oh my God, finally. Hello, everybody. We are now 2 full minutes into the episode itself.
The audience had to know.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Padawan Library, the Star Wars Junior Novels podcast. Just watch
the Golden Globe Spectacular.
This is the first book of a new series. So even though we're doing a bit here, I want everybody to know that you're listening to the right show. All right? Okay. And
I said Padawan Library up top.
A couple times.
I said it a couple times.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So, yeah. How are you doing? You doing good?
I'm doing good. It's an exciting evening that we have planned for the audience.
We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So this, I will say that. Oh, you mentioned we have a guest tonight. We should introduce her quickly.
Okay, good. I can breathe.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for.
By the way, you could have talked before. Like, we don't need...
You did already.
I did. Yeah, I pulled a Tim May and, interjected a little
That's
bit.
what I do! Thank you, Mel!
Before I was introduced.
That's what he does.
Mel recognizes me.
This is a very official podcast. I don't want to, screw anything up and, speak out of line or,
Oh, yeah. We have a very strict format.
So strict.
All right. So I will say this. Yeah. So This
You're,
week,
you're Mel Lyon.
Yes, I'm Mel, and I'm here, and yeah, we've got a great show for you folks. It's the 85th episode. If you didn't catch it before, it's the Golden Globe Spectacular, so it's going to be spectacular.
All right. So, this is, in case you guys are confused, I'm sure you're not really, but if you are, yeah, the first book in Junior Jedi Knights, the series we're beginning this week, is called The Golden Globe, singular. Now, you might be like, the Golden Globe, where have I heard that before? Of course I've heard of the extremely stupid award show, the Golden Globes, and we thought long and hard about how would we honor the Golden Globes for this episode, and we explained this last week, but just quickly, we decided ultimately that we wanted to do a film that was nominated for Best Musical or Comedy at the Golden Globes in a year that a Star Wars movie was released. We looked down the whole list and we decided that the most fruitful option, fruitful for discussion, was the nominee from 2008, the year in which a Star Wars film we all love, The Clone Wars, was released. And yeah, Mamma Mia, like you said.
That's the year we met the Huttlet, the beloved Jabba the Hutt's son, the Huttlet. I mean, just as adorable as Grogu.
Totally. So what were your other options, Golden Globes, movie-wise?
Nothing, really. We didn't actually directly consider any movie, I don't think.
Other than Mamma Mia.
Evita we considered.
We did consider Evita briefly because the book was published in 95. But the problem is Evita's actually from 96. You were just looking at the wrong year. So I feel like Evita would have been an interesting movie to talk about. Alan Parker, the director, just died. The musical's interesting if it's interesting, and I'm a huge Madonna fan, as the listeners know. But we
got to get a Madonna episode in.
Yeah, you should just do maybe like a special or like a double episode where you just review Evita.
I would rather. I mean, if we're going with Madonna movies, I'd want to talk about Desperately Seeking Susan.
Yeah,
because that one's actually good, and I love her in that. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to look over the list of titles, see if they're like...
And we did also consider, what was it, Lentil?
Yentl.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yentl would have been fun, too, but I don't know.
Papa, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, of course, a classic. But we had to talk about Mamma Mia. A couple reasons for this.
Yeah.
One... It covers us for next week, because we're doing Mamma Mia 2 next week.
Of course. Lyrics World.
Lyrics World, and the subtitle for Mamma Mia 2 is Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, which is not technically a lyric for Mamma Mia, it's Here I Go Again, but it's a lyrics world. So we're doing a double shot of Mamma Mia, so that covers us for 2 weeks in a row. That's part of the reason.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason is I'm a huge ABBA fan. I'm not sure how you are on ABBA.
We like ABBA.
Love ABBA.
ABBA's great.
So good.
Movie made me realize I don't know enough about
ABBA.
Oh,
literally.
There's definitely songs I didn't recognize.
They're definitely a group that, like, I always listen to, like, their greatest hits albums and not, like, their actual albums.
Oh, yeah, they're not...
So
I don't know. They're not real. I wouldn't say they're an albums band, although I might have just like done a cursory listen of some of them when I was like 16, and like there's only like 3 hits on here, so I don't know. I should go deep.
Now let's talk. We don't have to go into this right
But none of us
have
any of us seen this movie before?
No, none of us have seen this movie. And I also want to say that last week I made it seem like maybe Mel would be unhappy with this assignment, but we all
I love a good any Hollywood musical, like Sign Me the Fuck Up, and then like a modern one. I don't know. It is interesting. We'll talk.
I want to talk about it as a musical in all that means.
This made me have a thought of, if Hollywood makes a musical, one a year, is it automatically a Golden Globe nominee for Best Musical or Comedy?
Almost always. If you look down, they almost always nominate whatever musicals came out. Listen, let's just get into it. The state
Yes.
of the big budget Hollywood musical.
Dive right in. Like, we're diving into the ocean of
that
whatever
blue ocean, that like
Greece is
crystal
in.
clear blue Greek
Yes.
ocean.
I think there's two movies that matter for where musicals are right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like one of them. I don't like the other, but I think they both had negative influence on where musicals are now. One of them is Moulin Rouge,
Okay.
and the other one is Chicago. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
all musicals now are either jukebox musicals of some sort, that's
Right.
the Moulin Rouge effect, or
Mhm.
Yeah.
they are big budget adaptations of hit Broadway shows that don't think they need to do anything to make them
Anything.
cinematic at all.
Yeah.
And that's Chicago, which I hate Chicago because it's
Ah!
it's an incredible show, but the movie is truly terrible. And like I think just Rob Marshall is a truly horrible director who keeps getting to direct these huge musicals, and he's supposedly a great stage director. I believe all these people. I don't think they're all having a mass delusion.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
when he's shooting, like, okay, I saw Mary Poppins Returns, which he directed. And,
Oh.
and you can tell there are sequences where you're like, I can see snatches of somebody choreographed a lot of dancing here that you're not showing me.
Right.
And and I don't know how good or bad the dancing is. I'm not making a judgment call there, but I am saying, show it to me.
Yeah.
At least keep everything's close. It's not like Tom Hooper craziness with like Les
Yeah.
Miserables where it's like uber close-ups, but he just is cutting constantly, and this is a problem in Mamma Mia also.
Mamma Mia cuts so
And
much.
that even goes back to like Fred Astaire and like Gene Kelly. Like, you watch those older musicals, like they knew like it lives in the wide angle because that's what makes it feel more like a stage production.
Mhm.
Unless, and I'm trying to think of like a good example now
I mean,
of like
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I've enjoyed some musicals, but they're I enjoy them for different reasons if I
Right.
do. Like, I know, like, people, have their mixed feelings about this movie, but I liked, like, La La Land, but that's more of a Jacques Demy style, like, French musical
right.
than really a Hollywood musical. And, like, I'm trying to think, there's some deep...
Cats.
I mean, that movie is...
No.
Please don't bring it up. I don't
should
even...
not exist.
And not even...
Okay, Tim, did you ever watch like the '94? I think it was
The
like
stage
Cats where
one?
it was, where it was like right.
I've
it
seen
was like
it.
stage, but like for film, but like
Yeah.
I don't know, it still kind of sucks as a film, but
Yeah, I mean, I saw
Better.
it when I was a kid because it was on PBS
Okay.
or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
remember it very well, frankly.
gotcha.
Mhm.
See, that was something I grew up watching like all the time. And just thought was like a normal like kids thing to watch.
It's a baffling object.
And then, like, seeing the 2019, like, one with him, who had no
I've never seen
context at
Cats.
all.
Just-
And it's like, I mean, at least with the 2019 one, I could at least wrap my head around it.
Mm.
But,
I mean, that thing is a...
it's a
I
monstrosity.
know, like, lots of people, like, enjoy it, like, on a, like, so bad it's good level. I was so disappointed with it on that level.
It's so boring.
So
It's-
boring. Like, there's a couple moments that are hilarious, like when Judi Dench looks you straight in the eye and tells you that the cat is not a dog. That's a great moment of my life. But other than that,
Right.
there's-
Idris Elba's perforence of McCafferty.
McCafferty.
Oh, sign my contract. I'm McCafferty.
I mean, I hate cats. I'm a pretty anti Andrew Lloyd Webber person in general.
Well, okay, well then that would bring me to my next. What are your views on Schumacher's adaptation
Hate
of
it.
Phantom of the Opera?
Hate it. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of it in the first place, but the movie is terrible.
Not
Like,
great.
I like.
No.
I as far as Weber goes, I love Jesus Christ Superstar, and I basically like nothing else he's ever done. I think he just became such a cornball. Not that there's not corniness,
Yeah.
but not that there's not like corniness Jesus Christ Superstar, but the songs are just so good. And
lyrically, I think they're stronger than even Phantom or
he was still working with Tim Rice on that. I don't think, not that Tim Rice is like a genius lyricist, but like I think, I don't know who he was, because then the T.S. Eliot poems are the basis for the cat stuff, which are fine for like nonsense children's poetry, but whatever.
It doesn't work as a musical.
No, it totally works as a musical, you guys.
I've seen the 2019 version, and I've seen the 94
no,
version.
you saw the 94 version like on YouTube with like a million ads and bullshit, so it doesn't count.
I agree with Mel on that, even though I don't think Cats.
One more chance.
No.
And that's when I see it live.
Yeah.
I will see it live.
They
and
did
then
it.
I will make
we'll
my
do it live!
ruling.
They did it at a local high school like 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I wanted to go because I was like, this could be like... But I was like, if I like laugh, I'll feel really bad because these are kids. So I didn't go, but I wanted to go really badly. Anyway, so this Mamma Mia is not an Andrew Lloyd Webber show.
No, it's an ABBA show.
It does, and like really, the music being like just a jukebox musical, like that does work in its favor a lot. I feel
it doesn't always work, in my opinion, in this movie. There are moments where it's so forced because of like the context of the song. Like,
I actually think they did as far as jukebox musicals go, they did a relatively good job incorporating the songs. I haven't seen the stage show, but my biggest problem with this movie, I actually mostly enjoyed it, even though I don't think it's good. But
we watched this movie in two parts. We watched the first hour, which we thought was like really good.
It was fine. Yeah,
and then,
it was good.
And then there's the last 40 minutes, and it just felt like song after song.
It was
and
back
like,
to back.
It just fell apart.
No breath. There was not even like dialogue in between.
Oh, it became like a concert at the end.
You know what also happens in that 40?
Yeah.
You know what happens in that last 40 minutes too? That we have this. Like, we get that high school senior who hasn't been in, like, a musical before, and he auditions, and he gets, like, the lead role, Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, okay, well, we can save Pierce for a minute. I have a lot to say about Pierce. Okay, let's just set this up quick. My biggest issue, I want to wrap up the musical, like, movies thing quick.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest issue with Mamma Mia, by far, is just the way it's directed. I don't have the name of
her name is
you just had it up.
How would you say that?
Philidia
Lloyd.
Philidia Lloyd. Okay, she directed The Iron Lady too, right?
Let's find out.
I believe that's true.
Click, clack, click.
Yep, she directed The Iron Lady.
Anyway, so I don't know if it's her or whatever. I'm not like going after anybody, but I just think that the movie there's way too much cutting.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that these actors aren't professional dancers or singers. We'll get to it, but like part of the fun of the movie is that it feels like it's just a bunch of people on vacation and they're like so. It's okay it's okay if Meryl Streep's just like running along and you have a wide shot and it's like, oh, she's not like an amazing dancer. Like, nobody's expecting her to be, but I still don't want to cut like 15 times as she's running down the little cobblestone sidewalk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I just think it cuts too much, and that's my biggest issue with it. And also the way it looks, it has this very mid-2000s, like, everything glowing. Like
everything glowing, everything
it's
blue.
Effervescent.
Everything is blue. Like the color correction on this movie pushed all the blues
it's like,
out.
Man, Company 3 was going crazy on this color job. That's all I have to say.
And it's like, well, I think what kind of works for it is the fact that a bulk of the movie is like shot on location.
Oh, it's in Greece, right? Which
it's
actually,
in Greece.
I hate that I'm doing this, but it reminded me of one of the subplots, I can't remember from which of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants movies. And
he just so happens to have both
they're
the DVDs of
I've never seen
1
them,
and
but I've heard great things.
I love those
for
movies.
the folks at home.
I love those movies, especially the second one. I remember being very, like, Just like, I feel like they like really stepped it up for number 2. But, anyway, it looked so much like the same location to me as this Greek like villa or whatever, and and it might have been, they were shot, they probably made around the same time, but regardless, everything. I like the sun-dappled idea of the look, but it's that era of like big budget movies are still shot on film, but they're like heavily digitally color corrected, and that's like one of my least favorite aesthetic eras of mainstream movies. Is like the late 2000s. Like those movies do not hold up in terms of like the color choices and like all that stuff. So, like, I would love to see some movies from that era, like somebody to like go and be like, let's just go back to the original negative and print that and see how it looks, because I would love to see what it looks like.
I agree with that.
You mentioned Pierce. You should talk about.
Okay. Well.
Let's talk about the plot. If people don't know,
if you don't know the plot,
there is not really
a
plot.
idea.
There totally is one, but obviously
Amanda
it's just
Siegfried or Ziegfeld. Is it Ziegfeld or Siegfried?
Siegfried.
Amanda is getting married. And she's really young. She's in her 20s. She's never met her father before. And she found her mother, Donna, who's played by Meryl Streep. She finds Donna's diary from when she was pregnant with her. And she finds out that there are potentially 3 men who could be her father. So, taking a chance, she decides that she's going to mail all 3 of them. And she's going to mail all 3 of them. See if the men will come to the wedding. And she's thinking, as soon as the man gets here, I'll know exactly which one's my father. Well, the men show up, of course, played by Pierce Brosnan. Who else?
Colin Firth.
Colin Firth. And
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yes. And they show up, and she doesn't know which one is her father. And now she has to hide him from her mother, and then her mother finds out, and it's this whole deal. But her mother doesn't find out that, like, her daughter invited them till the very end of the movie.
Yeah, because she just thinks they're there.
They just showed up on their own.
Yeah, they, like, come up with a very, like loose excuse for why they're all
very
there.
Flimsy. And like when Donna finally realizes, it's like, oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
And even the 3 men don't know. All 3 men think that like she's her father, but don't know that the other men are like potentially her father either. Even though they're like all hanging out together. Like,
it's a loose thing, a loose excuse for, the songs and the vibes, and like that's fine. I don't really care that the plot.
Let's talk about the songs, because the first song I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, this was a big moment.
This
for
is the first one I want to
think.
talk about, because I've had an ABBA song stuck in my head recently, and that's "Gimme, Gimme, Gimme."
Sure.
Gimme, gimme, gimme a man after midnight.
Yeah.
And the way this is used
is a baffling scene. A baffling scene.
Amanda is having her bachelorette party when the dads show up, and Pierce Brosnan goes off on his own to go see Meryl Streep, and the other 2 dads are there,
and all of the girls, all of her friends and relatives or whoever are all like, oh, there's men here, we must attack.
Yeah, and they attack them,
and they like tie them up.
They tie them up.
Very weird stuff.
It's very.
Yeah.
Not PG.
not
I
PG
mean, listen,
at all.
it's a lot of the choices, like some of the songs definitely feel like they're there because they're big, famous ABBA songs, and they need to use them in some way. Like,
yeah, Take a Chance, I feel like, was kind of like that.
Well, yeah, because eventually at the end, Meryl's 2 boozy buddies wind up, or one of her boozy buddies anyway, winds up like with Stellan Skarsgård, just so that there's something to do at the end of the movie.
Yeah, because you have the 3 of them, and you have to have that like trinity, I guess.
The Pierce Brosnan character could have sung it, but he had already just killed so many songs.
All right, let's talk about Pierce. We gotta do it. This is the most infamous part of this movie. I knew coming into it that everybody's like, Pierce is terrible singer. I knew all that. the first time you hear him singing is very briefly, and like I couldn't really judge him.
The three men are on a boat, and you're just like, all right, yeah, that was a little rough.
Our Last Summer, which, a great ABBA song, a nice little deep cut, very good one, actually. But then he comes to confront Meryl, and it's, they do SOS.
SOS.
And Pierce is truly terrible. Like, I was exquisitely terrible. You know what? To the point where I didn't even mind. I was just like, you know what? Shouts to Pierce for going for it. He's just here. He's having a good time. And he's like, well, everybody else is singing. Listen, very few of these people are good singers. Amanda Seyfried's okay. Except she's good, like passable. Not like a brilliant singer.
She's good, and Meryl's good too. Meryl's not like
Meryl's okay.
Not great.
Meryl's okay. I feel like Meryl does not need to be in every fucking musical, and she's in every musical now.
She 100% doesn't need to be in this musical either.
Well, actually,
I
think she's fine in this. Like, she's perfect for this. Like, her old woman phase of her career, like where she like plays serious parts and then like I'm just fucking around parts. Perfect for Mamma Mia. Fine. She did not need to be the witch in Into the Woods.
Yeah.
She did not need to be. There's like at least 2 or 3 other ones that I'm blanking right now. I'm sorry. Oh, she didn't need to be in that scene in Mary Poppins Returns. Ugh. Anyway, and then there was, and I think she's in a new musical that came out like last year, The Prom, which I'm never going to watch anyway, but it is what it is. But the only time I've ever bought her singing ever is in Ricky and the Flash, the Jonathan Demme movie, when she's playing like a bar band like singer. Like, perfect for her range, which is, she's like, she sounds good. She's a good karaoke singer. Like, that's fine. and she's obviously super charismatic, so it works. But like, she can sell it. But like, ABBA songs actually relatively for light pop songs relatively hard to sing. They're not.
Yeah, it's very complicated music, ABBA.
Yeah, so like,
and the harmonies are tight. You got to get those, and it's not like it's in an easy range either.
I'm sure a lot of it is just kind of like they recorded vocals on set, and then they like recorded professional singers to back them up for the tracks. But it's but Pierce they can't hide. He's just so.
Pierce
you seem actually mad about this. I loved it.
He would have been better off like Rex Harrison, like talk singing,
or getting somebody else to just dub him.
He has such an iconic voice, though, and everybody else was doing their own voice. So
and here's something too is like Colin Firth. He doesn't have a whole lot to sing, but when he does sing, he doesn't sound that bad. And it's just like they should have just switched the two.
Where he starts. Our Last Summer, when he's playing the guitar, like that's actually pretty good.
That's really good, actually.
There's and Stellan barely sings at all, which I love. But I was like, man, Stellan just got away scot-free here.
He did. Well, and then I think that like Pierce and Meryl have like no chemistry together either. Like Pierce seems nervous around her, and there's a moment there's a moment in SOS where the two of them are singing, and they have a brick wall in between them, and you see the side of the brick wall in between them.
I actually kind of liked that moment.
I was thinking, well, this is about how convincing this relationship is between the two of them. But whenever right before the wedding, and he confronts Meryl, like right before the wedding, they're on that like Octu cliff face. He has his hands in his pockets. Like his hands are like
he's Cary Grant working with Mae West or something.
Yeah, he has no idea what he's doing.
No one's Cary Grant. I'm sorry, but
nobody is that Cary Grant.
And obviously Pierce isn't even George Clooney, but I like Pierce. I'm a big fan of his. He's one of my favorite Bonds, even though I don't really love any of his Bond movies. He's great, I think. And I enjoy him in other movies, But I will say, I also wonder, I agree, there is a little weird intimidation, because it's not like he hasn't worked with great actors before, But I do wonder if it's just like, I spent a decade playing James Bond and like all these age-inappropriate love interests, and now I'm intimidated because it's somebody my own age,
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's I thought it was funny. Like he took me out. Like the movie is like he didn't ruin the movie. I thought it was like the movie is better for having that ridiculous thing in it. Like
right.
Like,
it kind of made sense with the mosaic that is Mamma Mia 2008.
Mamma Mia had a very high school feel because like
the choreography was definitely high school level.
Yeah, like
there's like a couple weird cuts where like Meryl is like, I don't even remember exactly what she's doing, but I think she's like trying to like get over like a fence or something, and like they cut like 15 times, and it's like right at like a big emotional part of the song, and it's like it's very awkwardly staged. I mean, listen, she's also like what, probably 60 in this movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. Like she can't just be jumping all over the place. But like,
she was jumping all over the place at some point. She like
I
for
mean,
her age.
I mean, like in choreographed ways. Like she could like be excited and like
Well, she
dance
jumped off
like
a
she's
dock
had a
at
wedding
one
or
point.
something,
Like she jumped into the ocean at one point. I was impressed by that. So
yeah, well, she's
gotta.
not dead,
Yeah.
But at the same time, and my mom pointed this out too as we were watching this. Like, okay, so if Meryl Streep is 60,
sure.
right?
Somewhere around there.
Amanda is 20. So she's like 40 when she's like having this like affair.
I mean,
right?
I think it's also like, okay, this is 2008. Like, so this is all happening in the late 80s. It's clearly supposed to be the 70s. Like, in the, like, the way they allude to it. The early 70s. That's the vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
Although the one guy says Johnny Rotten, so I guess late 70s.
Yeah.
Says he was wearing a Johnny Rotten shirt, so it's got to be after 77.
I thought the movie itself was, like, set in 2008.
So did I. Yeah.
So did I. But if you look at like when Meryl sees the men and they do like they put them in costumes as to what they supposedly looked like when she was having the affair.
That's
like,
true.
Like one of them
guess.
is very flower power. One of them is very punk. And like they all have facial hair.
Yeah.
We'll find out next week when we watch the sequel, which from what I understand is a Godfather 2 style flashback and present day, which. Brilliant idea, honestly.
I agree. I can't wait to see the song choices because so many of the hits were hitting this.
I know they repeat some, from what I understand. But there's plenty of stuff left. I mean, I'm sure they do some of these songs.
Isn't the big thing Meryl's mom shows up too, who's played by Cher?
I don't know if it's Meryl's mom, but I know Cher's in it. Yes.
Right. Well, they keep talking about Meryl's mom, and she told her not to come home when she got pregnant.
You can't have Cher play someone like that. That doesn't fit her star persona.
Yeah,
we'll find out. We'll find out.
So,
because she should be like her character in Mermaids or something. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So I just want to say that I had a very good time with this movie, even though it is bad. It's a bad movie.
It's bad.
It is so bad, but so fun.
But enjoyable. It's so enjoyable.
The cast is fun. Even though none of them are really equipped to do
what is required of them.
I mean, Amanda Seyfried's fine, and I'm a big fan of hers, but like. First Reformed shout out to Amanda Seyfried.
Twin Peaks season 3.
She's in that too. Shit.
Yeah, she is.
Man, she's having a fucking killer career.
I'll just say this: she plays an original character's. 2 characters, their daughter is all I'll say about
she's in Mank too, and she's.
I know, yeah. Well, she's actually nominated for a Golden Globe this year.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's really good at that. Anyway, so I was. All right. We don't need to like rate it or anything. I had a good time. Yeah. I'm really excited about the sequel. Most people seem to think that it's better, like that it's like a big improvement on the first one.
And I wonder who directed it because
it's a different person.
The director of this, she went on to do the only other movie she's done a TV movie before this. She did Mamma Mia, then she did The Iron Lady, which won Meryl Streep Best Actress Oscar. Mm-hmm. All right, sequel. Who? Here we go again. Come on, load. Oh no! Alright, it is still loading.
Mamma mia.
It's still loading here.
They got it.
It's
Trying to
like Little Italy.
Ol Parker. O.L. Parker, or it might be Oi Parker.
That's the director?
Yeah, that's a director.
Oh, yeah, because it's all.
Yeah, I've heard it's like way better directed. Like I've heard like the
okay.
That it's
Well,
like a lot better staged and directed, but they're also it's a whole new cast because they have all the people as young people.
The young person.
So maybe they hired a lot of people that are just better at dance and singing. I wonder who plays young Pierce. Like that's the that's the plum role because you get to just like. You get to just like embarrass Pierce right in front of him on set, just just cucking Pierce basically. It's like,
Jeremy Irvine.
Oh, that's the guy from Warhorse.
Yes, he is. Wow.
Yeah. He's pretty good in that movie. I haven't seen him in anything else. I don't
know if he looks like a little Pierce, but that's
okay. And Lily James playing young Meryl.
Yes.
She looks nothing like Meryl, but
yeah.
I like
You gotta suspend that disbelief real high.
They should have cast what's her Meryl's actual daughter from Ricky and the Flash, Mamie Gummer or whatever. She was actually good in that movie. I was shocked by how good. Well, I'm not shocked. She's in a Jonathan Demme movie and she's good. What a surprise! But
okay, young Colin Farrell is played by. Hearth is played by you're right. Sorry, not
very different performance.
Very too. Not his Winter's Tale.
Yeah, I love Colin Farrell.
Movie.
I do too. I can't wait for Batman. Batman needs to come out immediately.
A year, I believe, right?
Yeah, 2022.
Can't wait. God. Anyway, continue.
He's played by Hugh Skinner.
Never heard
English.
of him.
The most British-looking person I've ever seen in my life.
Stellan Skarsgård is played by Josh Dillon.
Okay, I'm not surprised it's not one of Stellan's many sons. He has so many sons.
Oh, yeah, he does have so many sons.
Oh, because isn't one of them the guy?
He
yeah.
Did.
Okay.
Alexander Skarsgård.
Yes.
And there's at least one other one. Bill Skarsgård.
And
John Stellan, his middle name is John, I'll say this here. Stellan is showing up in Dune. I can't wait for Dune.
Dune
I'm so excited for Dune.
With people. There's like everybody on Earth is in that movie. Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm excited for Here We Go Again.
Yeah,
But yeah, this movie, I mean, listen, if you like ABBA, it's like a fine time. It's on Peacock right now for free. It's a fine,
I think even as, culturally, I don't know. I think it's a pretty significant movie because it did do very well for itself.
It came out around the same time as The Dark Knight, I remember.
Yeah,
and I remember going to see
the same day, isn't it?
I think it's the same day.
Oh, they were
released
the same
on
day.
the same day.
I remember going to see The Dark Knight at midnight. And I remember the midnight show of Mamma Mia was also sold out. So yeah, no, it was a big deal. It's
Mamma
like the
Mia.
biggest. It's the perfect movie for middle-aged winos. So it's
totally,
and it's made by middle-aged winos for
middle-aged winos. And it just makes so much sense now. I had a moment like that when I saw Fast and Furious for the first time. I was like, oh, this is what everyone in 2001 was so obsessed with. This is what they were.
Well, they're more obsessed with it now.
This is a movie made from Motorhead,
right? And then Mamma Mia, it's the same thing. You're like, oh, okay, all of these tacky, weird Greek-ish patterns and stone jewelries that you see at JCPenney makes sense now.
Mamma Mia probably has more of a cultural impact on fashion than we even know.
Yeah, no, totally. Totally.
It's just a segment of fashion that gets no press coverage because it's middle-aged women,
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And
white women.
And I want to reveal this. Mamma Mia's box office was $615.7 million.
It's the 13th highest grossing movie in the history of the UK.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so it's a good time. Check it out, and listen to ABBA Gold if you're not familiar with ABBA.
Totally.
Classic greatest hits record, and
And Coming up on the Padawan Library Golden Globe Spectacular, we talk about Nancy Richardson's The Golden Globe, Junior Jedi Knights #1, and an exciting live performance by Jefferson Starship.
I still don't understand what this bit is, but...
When we come back... And we return to the 85th Padawan Library Golden Globe Spectacular.
Excuse me?
Applause, applause, thunderous audience applause.
You know, it's my job to bring us back from the break.
You jumped on Tim's cue.
I'm aware.
Wow, that's
I was
so...
just, I was like, I was coming back from the commercial break. That's what I was doing.
That's what that is literally what I do on this show.
That is what he does.
I'm treating it like a television broadcast, alright?
You have Tim so stressed out right now.
I am the narrator of this award show It's a totally different character from my host character.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
That's no excuse. No
All right.
excuse. Nobody's buying that.
I haven't seen you guys in person in over a year, and it makes me think that we should start sending pants back and forth between each other.
Oh my god.
Now, have you read the books, Tim?
No, but I love these movies. I need to read I should read the books. The first one, let's talk about Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants for a second. No, let's not. Our fans
that was nominated for a Golden Globe, right?
It had to have been, right?
We should.
Well,
it
got 2
somewhere.
thumbs up from Ebert and Roper, the first one.
And
this is so funny. The second one got a See It from Richard Roper and Michael Phillips on At the Movies with Ebert and Roper. This was when Ebert had been lost his voice. So, Michael Phillips was filling in, but it was before Michael Phillips and A.O. Scott took over, but Ebert owned the thumbs up. So, they couldn't use thumbs up. They had to say see it or don't see it. So it says see it.
That's the same thing as the two thumbs up.
2 thumbs up, totally.
Yeah. So anyway, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants talk is complete because our fans are probably furious. We're now 48 minutes into this episode.
Yeah.
And I feel like we
I
have
should
a
probably
lot
put a
to
time
talk
code
about
in
this
this one because I feel like people are going to get mad. All right.
Well, yeah.
And I was going to say,
okay.
We have another non-Star Wars thing to do, but let's wait till the end of the show.
All right.
The end of this spectacular.
Before Jefferson Starship performs.
Jesus Christ. Okay. This episode, we are beginning a new series. Junior Jedi Knights, which is written by, for this volume, Nancy Richardson, and then later Rebecca Moessa. Yeah. So,
and we'll mention all the covers of these books are illustrated by Eric J.W. Lee. He did all these covers for them, which I love these covers.
They're pretty good.
They're very neat.
Yes. So, but we'll talk about him in depth on a later episode, and we will talk about Nancy Richardson on a later episode. Because I have no information on her.
Okay.
Not part of the spectacular. Not spectacular enough
we're going to talk about
spectacular episode.
Mamma Mia, Sister of the Traveling Pants. We're going to read from the Austin Powers novelization. I'm giving it away, everybody. We're going to
Jefferson Starship is going to perform.
Starship. I spent all that time cutting together that intro. That's why I didn't get the intro.
Okay, so let's talk. This series is about Anakin Solo, who is Han and Leia's daughter in the old Legends timeline.
Son.
Did I
Their
say
youngest
daughter?
son.
I'm sorry.
You said daughter.
That's Jaina Solo, I believe. Is
Queen.
Who is his twin? He is a brother to Jason, who
and
is
Jaina.
a twin.
They're twins. They're the stars of...
R.I.P. those legends.
Yeah, they're the stars of the Young Jedi Knights series. This is which we will not be covering because that's a young adult series, not a young readers series. Get it together, people. No one's even asking about it, but I just want to. I want to nip it in the bud.
And they better not. Better not.
But Nancy was a co-writer on those books too, so these are the spiritual sequels.
I think it was
to
Rebecca was the co-writer, I believe.
Oh, let's see here. Is there an about the author?
Yeah, because I think Rebecca, Kevin J. Anderson's wife.
Oh, maybe.
No,
there's no
other
about the
information.
author. This is. Oh, I am a failure.
All right.
There.
Anyway, we'll discuss the author next week because you failed in your preparatory duty on this.
No, it's just not spectacular enough.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, this is about Anakin Solo attending Luke's Jedi Academy on Yavin 4. This, I don't know exactly when this takes place. I believe it's he's 11 years old, so it's at least it's probably like 12, 13 years post Jedi.
Right. Let's see when Anakin was born.
I mean, you could also just look up when this book takes place. That works too.
Yeah. Oh, 22 ABY.
So that's
yeah, after the Battle
that's
of Yavin.
18 years after Jedi. So
yeah, he's born 10.5 ABY is when Anakin is born.
So the Jedi Academy is well established, seemingly on Yavin 4. I will say this about this. I wonder if people will stop listening to the show when I say this. I have my knowledge of the Legends timeline, the post Jedi Legends timeline, is largely confined to the X-Wing books and the Thrawn trilogy. I think I may have read the first of the Jedi Academy trilogy when I was a kid, but I don't really remember. I did read I, Jedi about Corran Horn, which is kind of takes place at the same time as the Jedi Academy trilogy. But again, I read all this shit like 20 years ago, so I'm not going to have a very clear understanding of the timeline, so I just want everyone to know that up front. And you've read none of this, right?
I'll tell you what.
I read The Dark Academy. That one.
Is what?
Years, like a decade ago. Yeah.
And in terms of me in this timeline, I remember I read the first New Jedi Order book, Vector Prime.
That's later, and we don't need to talk about it.
We don't need to talk about that. And then the only other thing that I've really read from a sequel era of the old expanded universe, the Legends timeline, would be, of course, Jedi Prince 1 through 5.
All right, so...
And then the one with Tenel Ka. What was that one? Shit, never mind.
I don't know.
These are the junior,
I will say this.
One.
I know... What I know from them is, like, I was big into Wikipedia at a point. When Wikipedia came out, that's when I, was learning about, the expanded universe was through that. I find this delightful. This, the universe that this is set in, this book specifically, is kind of delightful, in my opinion, in terms of, a sequel, storyline.
I want to say this. I just wanted to say all that up front because some of the people that love this timeline are very, hectoring, I'll say, in a polite way. So I didn't want to... I don't want to try to present myself as an expert, but I've read a lot of this stuff. I said I don't know anything except this series, and I may have read this. And I have read enough of it to know that I do like this version of the post Return of the Jedi world.
Oh, totally.
I obviously like more than the current.
Oh God, is there even a comparison?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to get too into comparing them.
on.
I want to talk about this book, but obviously I enjoy that more, and certainly in terms of its fate for our main characters, it's clearly better. Although they eventually fuck it up in New Jedi Order and beyond. But as far as the Bantam 90s books, I'm pretty into that era.
This
is
also,
so solid.
This also, I want to
solid.
say, is not a Bantam book series.
This is a Boulevard book.
A Boulevard book series.
Yes, I think it's before Bantam Spectra, which published... Actually, no, they published the Jedi Prince, too, right?
Yes, they Bantam is Jedi Prince.
Who knows why they're different imprints.
Because this isn't Scholastic?
No, Scholastic doesn't come along until the prequel era.
Later. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Jedi Apprentice is really the first one. Yeah, because Galaxy of Fear is Bantam as well.
Yes.
So.
Anyway, I will say before we get deep into the book, Mel, I think you wanted to be on this episode. You told us at the beginning when we first started the podcast that you wanted to be on this episode because you said you think you may have read this book when you were
100%. 100%. Yeah, I totally did. Probably faster than I read it yesterday. But yeah, no, this was just something they had at the library. growing up, and then it was not like a time where there were a lot of these things around. Like, I don't think, or it could have just been like me being like a original trilogy diehard fan and being like, I'm not gonna read anything from the prequel era.
You know what?
So
I appreciate that,
these
Mel.
things.
I've been taking a weird turn lately on the podcast. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm sure you haven't been listening to the show, but
I listened to half of it. It's just not your half, Tim, unfortunately.
Reasonable. But I'll say I've been taking a turn lately, and I still love the prequels. Get off my back, everybody. But the intense prequel love on the internet, the way people talk about them now as if they're like the equal of the original trilogy, kind of bums me out. And I'm kind of just like, you know what? Let's pull the fuck back, everybody.
Right, and I'm sure that's what it is just like the pendulum swinging, you know, a little too hard. Like, everybody hated the prequels for so long, and then now it's like finally okay to like them, and I think,
the same thing will happen with the sequel trilogy.
For young people,
no one
and those
will
young
ever
people,
like those
I never have to talk about them. They can enjoy their TikTok and whatever it is. I'm an old man. It's fine. I have no problem with them. They have no problem with me. We're good. But anyway, yeah, no, like the library, like the school library, is used to like so dominate like what I would read, especially when it came to this kind of stuff, like licensed books, because like my parents were not gonna if they were gonna buy me like 1 or 2 books a month, they were not gonna buy me a Star Wars book. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, you're gonna read a real book,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, if I went to the library, I could be like, oh, I'll read this. So I've read random, like, Star Wars, like, junior novels when I was a kid. Like, I read one of the Jedi Prince books, like,
I did too.
3 or 4 times. I don't remember which one. Probably Glove of Darth Vader.
Mine was Mission to Mount Yoda, because that showed up. It showed up as a hardcover in my library.
Oh, yeah, school libraries especially would always do those, like they would like hard bind like paperback books so they wouldn't get as messed up, basically.
Right.
Which is always a fun thing. But yeah, no, I never read these, partially because I did read some of the adult novels set during this period, and I was like, well, I don't want to read those unless I'm like to that point in the timeline, which is stupid because they were published concurrently with stuff that took place earlier and all that. Like, it's not like it matters, but yeah, so, and I also thought it was, like, tied a little more heavily into Young Jedi Knights, which I think takes place before this. But and I used to think that this was, like, young Jason and Jaina, not Anakin. Like, I didn't realize, like, I thought it was, like, even younger Jason and Jaina. But, not Jaina, Jaina. But
Jaina,
I was wrong.
Queen.
But the stuff I read from the Bantam era never really fully got into the kids that much. Like, they were born, but, like, it was not a huge part of the story at that point. So I have very little relationship with the kids. I don't know if...
That's about to change, though, in this series. So we should get into the book a little bit.
Starting with the book, can I just say I'm obsessed with the way this book smells?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
She's been smelling this book nonstop.
Oh, it's like crack, if I knew what crack was actually like, but I don't, so I just say random stuff.
It's probably nothing like it, then, yeah.
Probably
not. You
probably have a bad time with crack.
Yeah, you know. I mean, most people do, I guess, so.
Crack kills.
Don't do drugs, kids. But no, yeah, just smell an old book
old books are
from
incredible.
the 90s and you'll be good.
I love yellow.
Crack is
That's the only drug you need.
Yellowed pages are incredible. So
yes,
this
book very yellow.
Yeah, let us get into it, because this book kind of jumps right into the fire. Anakin has already is being sent off by Leia and Han to Yavin 4 to Luke's Jedi Academy. His uncle Luke. And so he's like, he's leaving in the first chapter.
Right. His brother and sister they're returning from the Jedi Academy, so he's going there on his own. Let's see what I have written in my notes here. Oh, he lives on Coruscant. That's a big thing.
Because
he's going from that to a more jungle environment.
And also Leia is the head of state for the New Republic in this. So.
Yep. And Anakin, he has no need for friends. He's got other things going on in his life. He doesn't need any friends. Friends are useless. And
I don't need friends. They disappoint me.
Yeah.
Does he say that, or does he just not have friends?
No, that's from like some.
Oh, I don't mean like
Yeah.
what you said. I
Zoomer
meant
meme.
more what he said.
No, yeah.
What
Early
does
on,
it
I
say
have
in
written
the
down in
thing?
my notes that he has he thinks he doesn't have need for friends. I'd have to find out where it was again. But let's see here.
Anyway,
Stop worrying, Leia, Han said to his wife. He could
I'm
hear
not
her
going to
he
Santa
could
Fe.
hear her worry as clearly as if she had spoken. Come on, kiddo, and say goodbye to your old dad.
yeah, say goodbye to your old dad, Han Solo.
Say goodbye to your.
I mean, he is
and
an old
also-
man at this point. It's 18 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
right?
was
He's got to be
definitely
like
10
50 years
older than
old at that point or something.
Yeah, he is his old man.
With like an 11-year-old kid. Wow.
It is kind of brought up in this book that like Leia and Han worry about Anakin because Anakin is like shows that he is gifted in the Force.
And this is all very interesting because it's about his name, and we'll get into that in a minute when we get to the classroom scene. But basically, he's sent off by them. He arrives on Yavin 4, is greeted by his uncle Luke, who gives him the tour of the temple, the Jedi Temple, which I believe is...
The Jedi Temple Challenge.
which I believe the Jedi Temple is the base from New Hope.
It
Yes.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
So they he goes in and he's like, okay, well, you know, we didn't change much except that we added little classrooms, but this shit's ancient as hell and it's like Force sensitive as fuck.
And there's no windows, right? They just
yes.
have cloth on
no
the things.
windows
Yes.
because it's so warm on Yavin most of the time. So like,
It sounds lovely.
it's just like, so there's no bugs on Yavin 4, like
Yeah, right.
but they have big curtains for when there's a big storm every couple months.
Big rain.
Big rainstorm
big
every
rain.
few months.
And that room where they have the curtains is like the only untouched room, and like that, like because the temple originally belonged to like a people known as the Massassi, who they don't know what happened to the Massassi, but the Massassi built the temples, and Anakin, he decides, you know what? I need to explore this temple on my own. I don't need friends. I got my long hair in my face. I'm throwing it out of my face, which happens multiple times.
He's always tossing his
He reminds
hair.
me of another Anakin with his hair just always tossing it.
He's supposed to remind you of another Anakin to some degree. Even
And
though
way
before
that.
that character really was a character.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, he decides he's going to explore this temple, and R2 follows him, which at first he's just like, oh, damn, this droid's following me. Like, I don't want this droid following me around, and he's having problems. He can't communicate with R2. But he gets into this room, and then all of a sudden, when he's finally alone, he is approached by a little girl wearing no shoes, and her name is Tahiri.
Tahiri! You
Tahiri.
always do this.
Yeah, it's an I.
You called Siri Surrey forever, and I was like, it's Siri, goddammit. I know.
Like the phone.
I know you didn't want to activate your phone or whatever. That's all that.
Yeah.
All right. So, but yeah, Tahiri. Sorry.
Tahiri.
Yes, and she has an interesting story. She, 9 years old, at some point doesn't remember her parents, was orphaned on Tatooine, and she was taken in by the Sand People.
This is cool. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very
right.
cool.
She's a very interesting character.
Right. And her...
She needs therapy, but
and-
she'll be okay.
And Luke, he goes to Tatooine with another Jedi named, how would you say her name?
Is it Tion?
Tiong.
Tion.
Yeah, something.
Tion.
Yes, and they find Tahiri.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
They find-
Levi. I don't mean to make you so
it's
self-conscious.
okay.
I feel bad.
It's all right. They find Tahiri, and they see that she's gifted in the Force, and they make a deal with the Sand People to take her. The only stipulation for their deal is at one point, like, she has to return and announce if she's staying with the Jedi or.
She's going to come and take a class for a couple weeks, and if she still wants to keep going with it, she'll stay, and if not, they'll bring her back to the Sand People.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they took her midichlorian counts.
No.
They could have.
Her M counts.
Their M count, yeah.
Pre-M count era here. So.
Pre-M count.
But So anyway, she's a bit of a chatterbox at first, and Anakin's like, boy, she talks a lot. And then
she's a bit of a Gabby Susie. I don't know. Is that a thing? I feel like that's a.
I don't know.
Is that an old-timey, expression?
You could be thinking of, what's that?
Gabby.
Yeah, Gabby, the villain from Toy Story 4.
I love that movie.
Christina Hendricks.
Yes.
Good Girls, check it out.
Oh, is that good? Is that good? Should I watch that?
Yeah, I talked to Dan recently, and he's like, I'm obsessed.
Good Girls, and that's like
Girls.
her and Mae Whitman and Retta, right?
Yeah.
I love all three of those people.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I've heard from that same person that the latest season was like great. It's consistent apparently.
I might have to watch it. That's a great cast, and I love a good network drama. It's on NBC. I'm like, network drama. I like that.
Those cliffhangers at the end that just keep you coming back for the next episode.
Matthew Lillard's in it too.
Oh, what? You just signed me up. Let's stop talking.
Love me some Lillard.
Stop talking so we can finish and I can watch it.
Yes, start watching immediately.
All right. So yeah, they decide. Tahiri, they're going to be friends.
They're going to be friends. They make that decision very quickly. They go to class the next morning, and the first class is with Luke Skywalker himself. And Luke gives a kind of lecture about the Force and
quotes Yoda,
explains what the Force is, and then just puts it all out on Front Street. It's like, yo, my dad, Darth Vader himself. And that's fucked up, isn't it? Basically, but
just imagine that being like your teacher and like on your first day of class, they're just like, "Yep, my dad is Hitler."
Like, damn.
Welcome to Ethics 101.
He does slip in there. It's like, oh, but I was able to get my dad to turn back to the light.
It's true. But and this. Anakin Solo is then thinking about this, and he's like, he's always struggled with being named after his grandfather, and
because he believes that makes him inherently evil. That's what he struggles with. Am I inherently evil? Am I more prone to turn to the dark side? Is what he struggles with because of that name.
It's like, am I?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I was gonna make a Metallica joke. Kill me. Okay. Anyway, am I evil? I believe that's a Metallica song, right? I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway.
Someone will know.
Yeah.
I know it is. It is. Continue. Talk. I will look this up. I need to not embarrass myself.
Okay, so we have the class, and then Tahiri has a dream. It's the dream she's had her entire life. She's on a raft. She's going down a river. The storm is coming. Then all of a sudden, the waves get crazy. She falls in. She doesn't know how to swim because she's from Tatooine. There's no water. But then she realizes something. Wait a minute. I've had this dream my entire life. But this river is right here in Yavin. My dream takes place here in Yavin 4. And then, new revelation about the dream. Anakin Solo is in the raft with her. So she tells Anakin. Anakin's like, all right. But then, twist upon twist, Anakin has the exact same dream that night, except
Tahiri doesn't. Right?
She doesn't. He does. And Tahiri falls into the water, and Anakin's trying to save her with the oar, and she drowns. So now that and he keeps having this dream. So because he keeps having this dream, they're questioning, is this destiny? Are we supposed to go in the raft down the river? But then there's a voice in Anakin's head that's telling him, like, you must do it. There'll be a raft right by the river.
Right, so before we move on, I do need to correct myself because I don't want 15 YouTube comments from angry metalheads. Am I Evil is a song by British heavy metal band Diamond Head, released on their 1980 debut album Lightning to the Nations. It only rose to international prominence after Metallica covered it as a B-side on their Creeping Death single in 1984. So, I'm sorry to all the metalheads out there. I'm sure that unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sure plenty of people listen to our show that knew that, and I'm sorry. There we go. Moving on.
moving on.
I was gonna tell you that, Tim, but then I was like, I don't want to embarrass him, so.
So anyway, they decide to sneak out of the temple, which is against the rules, and R2 follows them because Anakin has the dream again and realizes that R2 is in the raft with them. So they bring R2 along. Anakin, he's like, all right, R2, beep once for yes, beep no.
Yeah, he
twice
pulls
for no.
the Captain Pipes thing from the menagerie.
Which is like, isn't that another Anakin moment?
Does he?
He does that in like a deleted scene?
Well, no,
or maybe it was
you're
like
thinking-
a fan
you're
edit.
thinking- you're thinking of the episode 3 deleted
Yes.
scene where where Obi-Wan is questioning what
Okay.
the beeps are, and
Okay.
Anakin's like, well, I think he said this. Do you know the
Yes,
scene I'm
I
talking
do know
about,
that
Tim?
No is two beeps, right? That's what he says.
So yeah,
R2's great in this book,
R2
by the
Yeah.
is the
way.
light, and it reminded me, like, man, I fucking love R2D2.
I
We
love
always
it.
fucking stand up for R2 on this
Yes,
this show.
100%.
Well,
I think
I think like what this book captures too is like at first the awkwardness of R2 because like Anakin can't communicate with R2, but R2's there. R2's like just following him around, but R2 is observing everything that's going on around him and also understanding everything that's going on around him. And it takes Anakin a moment to realize that. Anakin doesn't realize that till like the end of the book, but it's a great moment in my opinion.
I think if like droids could be force sensitive, R2
Oh,
would
of
totally
course.
be force sensitive. Or like whatever like sequel trilogy bullshit about like items being connected to the force. I feel like R2 has
Well, I
to
don't
be.
even think that they even explored this
Well,
idea at all. But anyway.
We're in a different universe right now, guys. Let's.
Yeah, we are in a different universe, and I need to not bring that
I
universe
don't know
up.
if people have noticed, but my brother has pointed out to me that cause when he listens to the show that like when the sequel trilogy comes up, specifically when Rise of Skywalker comes up, I shut down emotionally. I'm just like, I can't talk about it. Mostly Rise of Skywalker specifically, but in general, just because like I don't want to talk about it. I don't have any desire.
Yeah,
Skywalker. I will say this: I like that in both canons that we don't have an origin for 3PO and R2. Like we don't know their beginning point, like they're like where their lives begin. Like you know what I mean? Because 3PO we find in a junkyard. You know, and R2 we meet on the Naboo, the Queen's ship, so we don't know.
We don't have one for R2, but 3PO was built by Anakin. What are you talking about?
No, but
his
Anakin found him in Watto's
insides,
junkyard.
Right? His
Yeah.
outsides.
So how did
are
3PO
different.
end up in the junkyard is what we don't know. We don't know.
Or is he just made of water
I think
junk?
that he had
Yeah.
some spare protocol droid parts.
That's true,
and
which could make a
otherwise,
completely
like,
unique
built it
droid.
with whatever he had around. I think that's the implication.
That you could, yeah.
But he also just looks like a regular manufactured like 3PO unit.
This is
That's
the problem.
true.
I wish
So-
that one didn't. That one in is it in Empire? There's the other one.
Yeah.
If that didn't exist, we
Eat you up.
Yeah.
How rude.
Oh man! If you don't like that movie more than fucking Phantom Menace, I don't like.
Oh my god, get a life. Get a life.
All right. Anyway, well, I love how we're turning on our audience, Levi. Okay, we're like
It's that
we're
part
gonna
of the
listen to
spectacular.
50 minutes of Mamma Mia talk, and we're gonna talk shit about Phantom Menace. Like,
Our audience is lost.
Oh, God.
You're lost forever. Because next Mamma Mia's next Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
Can't
Next
wait.
week. Fuck my
Cannot
life.
Wait. But anyway, I'm sorry. I apologize, and guys, we did a whole 2 hours on Phantom Menace where we
Yeah,
praised it
right.
for 2 hours straight. Go back in the feed. All right.
You can go to that universe.
Okay, they go down the river. They sneak out of the academy. They go down the river. They have to force lift R2 into the boat, I think, or out of the boat at some point.
Out
but
of
anyway,
the, yeah. But
they're terrified because Anakin saw Tahiri drown, and then so he doesn't know like if he saves her, or if she dies.
He does save her. They get R2 out, and they want.
Yes. R2 is Anakin almost falls out of the boat, and R2 catches
course, well,
Anakin,
Yeah,
which I thought
R2
was
saves
great.
both of them,
That's because
right?
he's
Well, he saves
That's because
Anakin.
he's fucking R2D2, man.
Yeah, he's the best.
I love him. Anyway, what a legend.
You're a funny little droid, aren't you?
So there's anyway,
They get
Yeah.
to a temple.
they
They
find
get-
another temple like that has markings that Anakin can't read, and they decide to they decide to go into for a shelter from the storm, but then they decide to explore the temple a little bit because they're already way too late coming back to the Jedi Temple, and they know they're already in trouble with Uncle Luke.
Mhm.
So they start exploring, but it's super dark, and they find this long, winding staircase down, 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 and and they're wondering, Tahiri's in front of Anakin, and he's like worried for her. He's like really scared for her. Like, she's in front of me, and I can't feel like I can't see her, and like R2's light, he had to wait at the top of the stairs, so R2's like light's not enough basically to see her, and she's just like,
And this staircase, it keeps spiraling like from the Book of Saw.
down. Indeed, from the book. God.
Oh, man.
I saw the trailer again for that.
Gotta
recently.
open the book. Gotta open the book.
I cannot wait to open that book.
All right. I love that Chris Rock's trying to play Morgan Freeman in Seven.
Yeah,
Like,
he is.
Yeah.
Which is a movie I just rewatched, by the way. Seven holds up actually shockingly well. Very good movie. And Freeman, that's probably like maybe his best performance in general. But like, just the idea that they're finally coming around and just being like, man, we've always been ripping off Seven this entire fucking franchise, so let's just go all in.
Let's just go all in on
For
it.
it.
And also at the end of the trailer, there's this moment where like Chris Rock
He's
finds
got
himself
this saw.
chained to a pipe, and he's got a hacksaw, and it's like that Saw 1 moment, and the look on his face is like really
I
funny.
love Chris
It's just,
Rock,
like,
so I'm
yeah.
excited. I love him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And Samuel
yeah,
Mace.
isn't he like the
Samuel.
new Jigsaw?
I don't know. I think
Ooh.
he's like his dad, or like he's a fellow cop. I think he's gonna die for sure. Like I think, but if Samuel L. becomes the new Jigsaw, that'd be insane.
That
That'd
would
be
be
Yeah, that'd be
insane.
another
That
like
was
huge
good.
iconic role for him. Like just like,
Yeah.
just he's like adding them on, just like I'm 72, still stacking them. Shit.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Still stacking.
All right. So yeah, they're spiraling down into the Book of Saw. Who wrote the Book of Saw? Anyway, God, I can't stop. All right, so, you take over. Take over.
Okay, so they find a wall, and there's glitter. There's glitter emitting from the wall.
Gold glitter.
Gold glitter.
This is literally my greatest nightmare. Like,
I know.
I
I was
just
thinking that too. Like, what a fun moment for fiction, but
Yeah.
in reality, like,
And-
that would be awful.
And there's a wall, and they can't get through the wall, and they try to use the Force to move the
and
wall.
they find a
and it doesn't
child's
work.
bone at one point.
They find a bone.
The hammer
yeah.
is the bone of a child's arm.
Yeah.
You know.
And they find out that the wall is a puzzle, and they break the wall down, and beyond the wall is a big golden globe
And they're like,
that's glowing.
they can't touch it because they fly back.
There's a force field,
And-
yeah.
But they hear screams coming from within the globe. Children's screams. So you're like,
Right,
Yes.
they're
whoa.
seeing like handprints and shadows inside of
Crazy.
it, and then a creature pops out. He's
Oh.
this like little rabbit-looking creature,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Ikrit."
Ikrit. So I want to say a couple things about Ikrit. So he keeps saying Ikrit like a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But this is pre-Pokemon. And I will say, if you look at Ikrit on the cover, you guys won't know this, but for my Tenchi Muyo heads out there, looks a lot like real Loki. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so Ikrit keeps talking about going like, Ikrit, 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 Ikrit. And like they're just like, man, we know your name already. Shut the fuck up, basically. But the voice in in Anakin's head is telling them they gotta leave, or they're gonna get trapped, possibly inside this Golden Globe.
Right, and also too,
which would not be spectacular.
Which we should also mention. It's so true that the voice tells Anakin that he cannot tell his uncle, or all will be lost.
That's a very weird theme in this book, and that I feel like you wouldn't be able to do today. Of like, don't tell your authority figures that you're escaping around and hearing children.
Are you kidding
scream.
me? Mamma Mia was all about not telling your authority figures shit you're up to.
That's way
adults,
different.
Levi.
That's way different, dude.
Like, Amanda Seyfried's 20, maybe too young to be getting married, maybe. I don't know. It's up to fucking her, and she makes her own decision at the end.
Exactly. No spoilers.
Because
everybody, as soon as this podcast is over, they are going right to watching Mamma Mia.
Yeah, because you know why, Tim? Why? The cock is great. Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
The NBC streaming service.
Are you talking about Dominic West's cock right now? Anyway, all right, moving on. Okay, so they escape without much trouble, honestly, and they head back to the Jedi Temple, and who's waiting for them? Old Uncle Luke, and he's
in his dark Jedi outfit, right?
He's still wearing that black outfit.
He's finger wagging and tisking away, and so
This is I like this moment here. I want to see if I can say.
Yeah, this is actually pretty cool because Anakin and Tahiri on the way back have basically decided they're not going to tell Luke about what happened. They're just going to say that they went on a walk and got lost, and then the storm happened. And that's what they tell him, and Luke seems suspicious, but then R2 backs them up.
I know, which is the coolest part.
And R2's just they're right, that's what happened, and Luke's just like, well, of course I trust R2 implicitly. Yeah. He saved my life dozens of times. But so fine, and you guys broke the rules, but I appreciate it. And Anakin, Tahiri tries to take all the blame.
Right.
And then Anakin's like, no, it's my fault too. And Tahiri looks at him and she realizes that the reason he's willing to share the blame is because he has matured to a point where he no longer thinks he's inherently evil and he thinks he can survive a disappointment to his uncle. And Luke looks at Tahiri, recognizes that she recognizes that, and just this girl is...
Greatness recognizing greatness.
Yeah. This girl is so wise. Wise.
And Luke, he is just she's from my home planet. She's going through the same thing. Because
she tells him that, I've never seen so much green in all my life.
So real. Anyway,
here's what Luke says on page 108. Luke looked at the young girl. He could understand her desire to see the jungle. He had grown up on the desert planet of Tatooine too, but that was still no excuse. Hang on. Oh, Luke turned to Tahiri. He had seen her smile. Luke was surprised to see that young girl also understood that Anakin had difficulty recognizing that he could make his own choices. Luke, Leia, and Han had known for some time that the boy believed he might turn out to be like his grandfather. Perhaps, Luke thought, Leia shouldn't have named her son Anakin. After all, Anakin Skywalker was a difficult man to understand. This had been true, even for Luke. So much wisdom in a child, Luke thought as he stared at Tahiri. The girl was a mess. Her hair was full of leaves and small twigs. Her orange jumpsuit was soaked through, and her bare feet were covered in mud. But so much wisdom, Luke thought in amazement. Luke closed his eyes.
Goals.
He knew in his heart that Anakin Solo was meant to be a powerful Jedi. He would serve the light side of the Force. He once understood that completely with Darth Vader's... Once he understood completely that Darth Vader's choices had nothing to do with his own.
Wow, what a concept. What a great way to think if you're the grandson of Darth Vader, not being obsessed with
it's how you have to think, or else you're not going to actually...
You're going to be a pretty shitty villain for, 3 movies.
I don't want to get into it.
It's a different universe. You know what I mean? Alternate universe. I'm just saying that would be terrible. Nobody would do that.
That's not the problem with those movies. Anyway, moving on.
But with his long hair. He's kind of Kylo Ren, and Tahiri is very Rey-like.
Right. They do have similarities, but anyway...
and a Force connection.
I just want to say this.
Yeah, it's very... They're dreaming of each other, and...
I just wanted to say that this moment between Luke and Tahiri, it was very much like the 1998 All-Star game when Michael Jordan was playing against Kobe Bryant. Just recognized game. There's so much of themselves in each other. That's what it was. Anyway, okay.
100%.
Okay, so anyway, there's basically that's where this wraps up. There's like a little epilogue, isn't there?
Yes, because we learned some more.
Oh, this was important. Yeah, Ikrit.
So
Anakin goes back to his room. And Ikrit, he's like, well, Ikrit's my pet now, this little Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Ikrit reveals he's the voice inside Anakin's head. He starts talking, like, in English. Or basic. I apologize. And so...
you fucked up so many times today, Tim.
First
the Metallica thing, now the basic.
Hey, I didn't really fuck up the Metallica thing. I was terrified that it was like a Black Sabbath song. At least Metallica did a very famous cover of it. Very famous.
Okay, but anyway, Tahiri reveals that Ikrit reveals that he is actually a 400-year-old Jedi. And years ago, he discovered the Golden Globe, but realized he did not have the power to break the force field around it and free the children's souls trapped inside of it.
He actually doesn't know if it's children's souls. He's like, I don't know, or he says he doesn't know. He's like, I don't actually know what's inside. Like, I just have a terrible feeling about it. And he's like, you can't tell Luke because it will destroy this thing. I just know this to be true. So clearly Ikrit is very suspicious. Probably a Sith Lord, is my guess.
Yeah, he could be a bad dude.
What? No, look at him.
I think it's a Sith Lord trapped inside of a Pokemon. And
that would explain, the mind melding thing that he does.
Yeah, and connect their minds like Snoke.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's the one I like. So we don't. I'm fine with that. Okay. Anyway, all right. Yeah.
But Ikrit too, Ikrit has guarded this thing for 400 years. He says they're destined to do it. The two of them are destined to do it, and whether or not they accept their destiny is up to them, or the challenge, he calls it.
The Jedi Temple Challenge.
Anakin accepts the Jedi Temple Challenge, and but Ikrit. So is Ikrit aware that all the Jedi have perished? Was he aware of the Clone Wars?
Where was he for the Clone Wars?
He's not willing to help Luke at all.
Gone for 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Which that's if they were gone, that's like the Trump administration for him, in the long arc of his life, So I think there's, I just think that it's all happening. What am I talking about? I'm curious because I think he's clearly the villain of the series. I think there's no way.
What? That is crazy.
You really don't think he is?
I don't think so.
I'm putting him right in the middle.
You just said it's weird that he's telling him not to tell his uncle.
This whole thing is weird. I don't know.
I mean, unless you might have information we don't know if you've read further books. I don't know.
Yeah, I have, but I don't really remember
them. Well, still,
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't care. I'm not a spoiler freak.
I'm going to shush you like I shushed you last night when Pierce Brosnan started singing
Whoa.
SOS last night. Because it was I wanted to hear how bad he was.
Incredible. He's a master. All right.
Final thoughts.
I like this. I'm pretty in. I'm pretty excited about this series. I think Nancy Richardson is a little pedantic, I guess, with her writing. That's maybe not the right word. But her writing's it doesn't flow super well. I don't think it's I think that knocks a couple points off, but
What was the centimeters thing you wrote down?
Oh, yeah. No, I wrote down...
they call
yeah,
the watch
that-
something very funny.
Oh, a
Chronometer,
wrist
wrist-
chronometer.
Chronometer.
Oh, and a refresher. They have refreshers, which are just showers.
Well, that's like a Star Wars thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
But,
I'm surprised they say bed and not sleep couch.
Sleep
but I guess
couch.
this is before sleep couch.
yeah, that's true. But anyway.
But yeah, I wrote down right off the bat too that like it's a very like 90s syntax. Everything's kind of like choppy, and I have page 7.
If you've read
Hey.
like Babysitter's Club or like that era of like Hardy Boys, those kinds of books, like it reads like those,
Yeah.
like very much so.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, even just like sentences that are like super short, like on here at the very beginning, like they're talking about Yavin. It's like, it was so unlike the city he had just left, so beautiful and wild. Like that's a sentence. Like it's a lot of like adjective heavy.
Yeah, and
kind
there's
of
lots
stuff.
of
And
very
hair
descriptive
tossing,
stuff.
very
Like there's
90s.
a whole thing with
Yeah, what's the centimeter? Something with Anakin,
Anakin is
100.
150 centimeters. That's just like a fact that they have at the beginning
it's like
of the book.
he's tall enough
And I
to
meant
ride
to
a
look
roller
up
coaster,
what.
guys.
Yeah, I meant to look up what that is in like real, measurements, but
Real?
I didn't. So
Insulting the rest of the world on our podcast.
not this weird Star
The
Wars
ugly American Mel
Mel
metric
hates the
system.
metric system.
Alright, so the other thing is, like, there was a moment when, like, it, like, explains Luke's entire backstory, which I get it, but it's like, no one reading this fucking book hasn't seen Star Wars.
It doesn't know who that is, right?
Anyway,
Yeah.
I did really like it, though, and I thought the story was compelling, and I thought these characters, like, I am not familiar with Anakin Solo. I know he dies in New Jedi Order, you know, which I know is a controversial thing amongst fans, but
They were all about killing characters
know.
in New Jedi Order, so...
Anakin and Tahiri are very compelling lead characters. I'm pretty excited. I'm glad they're not brother and sister. We've had enough brother and sister duos.
Yeah.
And I like that they're young enough that it's not going to be a romantic thing either, so that's fun. Platonic friendship between girl and boy for kids this age, always a good thing to show. I just really liked it. I think the central mystery is interesting. I'm glad Luke's a constant presence in the book. We haven't really gotten a ton of Luke in any of the stuff we've read for this show, so like I'm excited to talk a little Luke. And yeah, I'm going with an 8 out of 10. Like I want to give it some places to go up here, so I'm going 8.
You go ahead.
So rereading this book, it was very interesting because, well, I mean, obviously I didn't really remember it that much at all, but it was like, it's one of those books where it's like, not a whole lot happens. Like, it is very much part of a series, and they do just kind of have their, like, Jedi Temple challenge, and then it's not like it really ends, you know, because they just find the Golden Globe. They don't really, like, do anything about it. So, I don't know. But I guess it just leaves you wanting more, and that's kind of the whole point, too. I would give this book, I think a 7 out of 10. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good.
That's fair.
Yeah.
7
All
out of
right,
10.
Levi,
All right.
go.
I really like this book. I had a good time with this book. Right from the beginning, I was all smiles with this book. I just found it really delightful. And I think the character of the hour is R2-D2. I think out of all the things, we haven't had a whole lot of R2. I mean, we had R2 in the Science Adventures, and R2 has shown up in a couple other
He's in Jedi
things.
Quest a little bit.
Yeah. But I think this was like one of the most delightful, because like you're really introducing R2 to a new character with Anakin. Anakin's like, he doesn't know who R2 is, and like R2 lives up to like, you know, who R2 is as a character, because like when Anakin has the realization that like R2 is like, oh, like he knows what's up, is whenever like R2 stands up for, like he goes along with the lie to Luke Skywalker, like R2-D2 lies
He's a
to Luke.
mischievous young.
He really is.
No, but
Yeah, the fact that he didn't like R2 at first.
Yeah, but R2 is just
It's
like,
very
oh,
entertaining.
another Anakin. Obviously, I'm gonna
Be
follow this
best
Anakin
friends,
around.
yes.
Yeah, so, but I'm gonna give this book again, also like you, Tim, an 8. Like this series has a lot of room to grow, and as an entry book, I thought this was like a really strong book for a series. So
yeah,
I'm very excited.
I'm stoked for Lyrics World next week.
Yes.
Before we close it out here, I wanted to do 2 things. One, I wanted to comment that Levi, you're wearing a Santana shirt because I didn't want you to forget about it. But anyway, so I'm sorry.
This shirt somebody just gave to me, and it's for a 2019 tour.
No shots at Carlos Santana. He's a great guitarist. I just am obsessed with Smooth, and I think it's one of the funniest songs of all time. And it's unfair because it's like
so smooth.
Man, it's a hot
just
one.
like the ocean under the moon.
Oh, we're having a Mamma Mia moment.
Oh man, yeah, we're singing it, we're harmonizing about as well as the cast of Mamma Mia. So,
totally.
Anyway, the last thing is you mentioned it during the break when you were on break for recording that you wanted to do a dramatic reading from the Austin Powers International Man of Mystery novelization, the first one.
Yeah, well, this was something Mel sent to me. Somebody, a Keaton Patty on this is Twitter, I believe.
Oh, I thought that we discovered this on our own.
You may have, but I don't think we've actually read it on the show.
Nothing.
No. I thought. Oh, did I say? Well, we may have. I don't.
Well, if you found it on
have
somebody's Twitter, they found it. So give them the props.
Yes. Yeah. Keaton Patty, who is verified, by the way.
I don't even know who that is.
And Keaton wrote, "Still enthralled by the novelizations of the Austin Powers movies," and this is the section that he is in quoted. "I've gone the wrong shaggin' way," Austin thought to himself brutally. Austin stopped his cart and attempted to turn around. However, Dr. Evil's dastardly corridor walls were too close together for him to make a U-turn. Austin had to think fast. He turned a little one way, then reversed it, a little then, and then turned again, then reversed. On and on for minutes until the cart he was driving was perfectly wedged perpendicularly between the unsexy walls. This part here.
Oh god.
Yeah, baby, said nobody, since this was not good.
What a legend, whoever wrote that. That's incredible.
Yeah,
and also, that scene is still hilarious, even just being described. I am
funny.
Laughing, I'm just thinking of the scene, and I am laughing.
And the way it's written.
The way it's
just
written.
Turned a little bit, reversed, turned a little bit more, went forward, on and on for minutes.
Oh, no. Well, we've often threatened an Austin Powers podcast. I feel like Austin Powers is now starting to re-enter the popular consciousness lately.
Because of Midsummer, right?
Totally.
Yes.
That moment when they're like, oh, the children are going to go watch Austin Powers.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's totally why.
Yeah,
I don't know.
agree.
I mean, it's
just
it's because it's been 20 years. And,
90s nostalgia.
But I will say, I think I've mentioned this on the show before. I rewatched the first one with a bunch of high school kids. Fucking holds up. Funny as hell.
Yes.
That scene and the support group scene with Carrie Fisher, 2 of the funniest scenes that have ever happened in a movie. So funny. Oh my god. And the Dr. Evil and Scott, at the father's, that is so funny. I, think about that nearly every day. And the second one is just as good, I feel like. Spy Who Shagged Me is so good. Goldmember is a step down, but it has its moments. And we've talked about how we love just thinking about Tom Cruise saying, yeah, baby. It's one of the funniest things that's ever happened in the history of movies. Anyway, all right. So, you guys have all been waiting for a long time. So
yes, we've gotten to that point in the show ladies and gentlemen, Jefferson Starship.
Let's light it up like the sky on fire. Rule the world.
Let's light 1980 on fire.
Wesley Dunbar on drums.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for tonight. Until the books are due back.
The library is closed.